The Sicilian defense, e4, c5. Couple ways to respond, normally, but let's go knight f3, facing the open Sicilian. Let's go d4, take, and now couple ways to take. Let's go with the knight. Put pressure in the center, and now we have the Sicilian knight off. Couple ways to play. I want to show you the freak attack, where you go rook g1. Many responses for black, but if black goes e6, giving everything that white wants, you go g4, g5, hit the knight, and now bishop e3. Very strong position already. White is ready to castle after queen d2, h4, h5. The attack has just begun. After knight f3, maybe they go e6, d4, still the open Sicilian, take, knight c6, and queen out to c7. We have the Khan or the Polsen Sicilian, bishop e3, and you can go f3, queen d2, but one option is actually to go queen f3. Maybe slide the queen over to g3. If the queens come off, you can actually take, and now the rook is available on the h file. Another option, knight c6, d4, open Sicilian again, take, knight f6, and now e5, the Shevnikov Sicilian. Black strikes in the center, we're coming into d6. Black can stop that. Bishop g5, pin the knight to the queen. This knight is very dangerous. Black tends to kick it away with a6. b5, threatening b4. Looks like white is in trouble. That is not true. Knight d5, you have to use the pin. Bishop e7, black blocks the pin, take, and now c3. Get the knight back in the game. You also stop black's knight coming in the center. And now a4 is one option, one way to continue to chip away. Let's look at d6 again. Another option. We have open Sicilian again. Now we have g6, the dragon. One way for white to respond is the Yugoslav attack. f3, queen d2, bishop c4, h4. The attack has just begun. Knights, bishops, queen are all out. h4, h5. White is ready to castle. The game has just begun. The Caro-Kann defense, c6. Black wants to go d5 next. A few ways for white to respond. Knight c3, knight f3, get the center for themselves. Let's look at that first. We can go e5, this is the advanced variation. I want to show you knight c3, defend the center. If they take back. Knight can come out, bishop c4, castle, we're good. What if black challenges the knight in the center? We can take it. Black now has 4 pawns in front of their king. We defend the center. Bishop out, bishop d3. We face the h7 pawn, queen c2. We face the h7 pawn again. Thrown a check, but we block with the knight. A couple of ways to continue. Bishop out, and we can castle queenside, or we just castle kingside. Another option, c6, you might want to keep it flexible. You might want to get your knight out first, knight c3. Black strikes in the center. This is what the Caro-Kann is, knight f3. Black can take, or do something different. Bishop g4, pin the knight to the queen. You question the pin, attack the bishop, they tend to take, and then maybe knight f6, maybe e6. So after knight f6, maybe we just get the bishop out. If they take, we're good. Take. Position is open, castle, we're good. Now going back a few moves, another option, bishop e2. Well, we just castle. And then maybe later we take here. Something like this, and then d4. And then it's like our bishop can now go on this spot. It's quite nice. d6, d4, get the center. Defend your center, and now g6, we have the Pirc defense, or the modern defense. 3 pawns in the center, the Austrian attack. Knight f3, and here we can go bishop e3, queen d2, castle. I want to show you a sneaky move, a3. What's the point of that move? Now black can play knight c6, game goes on. But if black plays their typical move in these kind of positions, c5, we can take. And you might be thinking, what's the big deal? Queen comes out to a5, very dangerous, attacking the king. If take, then knight takes pawn. There's too much pressure. So in this position, white has this really cool move b4 to attack the queen. The queen has to move back, and then we can go rook b1. Just get out the way of the pin. Get out the way. If knight here, We can defend the knight. We can even put the knight in the center. Going back 2 moves. Take. Black might just take back. Queen's come off. Take, take. Now e5, get more space. Now the knight can come to the edge. He can go back. But what if it goes to the center? We take it. And then bishop c4. Hit the rook. It moves back. Knight g5. Hit the f7 pawn. And then the game goes on. You can put the bishop here to attack. You can drop the bishop back. You can go h4, h5, which we have seen before. d5, striking in the center on move 1. The Scandinavian defense, or the center counter we're going to take. Queen takes is popular. Knight out is another option. Let's look at this. Knight c3 is good. You can even go knight f3. Delay it. Knight f3 is all right. They pin you, you break the pin. d4, c4 coming up. Bishop here, c4, hit the queen, and then bishop here. Now in this position, 1, 2. Knights defend each other. Queen can come out. You're ready to castle. Going back to move 2, you can just attack the queen straight away. The queen might drop to the side, and you can flick in b4. I want to look at bishop c4, d4, queen e2, something like this, where you are actually giving yourself another option to castle queenside. Knight f3, bishop c4, even queen e2, something like this. You're actually delaying the pawn coming forward. d3, you don't have to play d4. d3 might be nice. You're blunting this bishop. And then something like this. Maybe the knight can come in the center. 1, 2. If knight here, maybe bishop d2. Questioning. Where's the queen going to go? Castle next. 1, 2. The game goes on. The French defense is e6, and then black will go d5 next. Get the center, and now a few options for white. You can push. You can go knight d2 to defend. I want to suggest knight c3. A few more options for black. Knight can come out, bishop out, or take. First, let's look at the capture. We take back. Bishop might come out, get your knight out. Knight f6, they challenge your knight, just like we saw before in the Caro-Kann. We take it. c3, just like we saw before. And then bishop can face the king. Maybe black wants to get their bishop out this way. It's not actually a great move because we get the bishop out first. And then h4, something like this. Knight and bishop can come in. Maybe the queen can come out this way. Facing the pawn, white has a great position. Another option is, let's say we go bishop b4. We pin the knight to the king. Let's get the center, e5. Black chips away at the center, but you're just in time with a3. Take, take. Few ideas for white. You can get the queen out to attack this pawn. Get your h-pawn up the board. You can even go a4. Then bishop can come out on this diagonal. Knight c3, there's one more option. Black goes knight f6, challenging the center. You don't want to take, because then you don't really have a center anymore. You push. Hit the knight, it drops back. Defend your center, 3 pawns. Defend your center with the knight, and now with the bishop. Take, and then queen d2. You may be asking, why capture? Because if you play a normal move like queen d2 and then castle, c4, and black's attack is just so strong. It's just too strong. b5, b4, hit the knight. The queen can come out. The rook can come out as well. So going back a few moves, that's why in this position, it's actually good just to get rid of black's center pawn. Queen d2. Black can recapture either way, I don't mind. Castle, the game goes on. Bishop d3, face the king. h4, just like I've said in many positions, knight g5. a6, maybe black gets space, king b1. If you're not sure what to do in these kind of positions, put your king behind the 3 pawns and then the game goes on. e5, attack the center. 2 options, the knight can come out. Knight c6, and now a couple options here. Bishop c4, bishop b5, we have the Italian, Spanish today. Bishop attacks the knight. A few more options. Maybe black defends the center with d6. Knight f6, attack. a6 is the most common. We can retreat the bishop, but let's take the knight. This is called the Spanish exchange. Take, take, and now castle. Couple more options for black, maybe f6 to defend the center, bishop d6, even this weird move, queen d6, or even queen f6. Let's say they play f6, defend. This move is actually alright because there's no bishop anymore. So moving your f-pawn is a good option. d4, open up the center, take, take. We have 4 versus 3, which is good for white in the endgame. c5, attack the knight, it drops back. The queens might even come off now, take, take, and the game has just begun. The knight can come out, bishop e3, bishop f4, something like this. Knight here, bishop f4, rook can even come into the center, f3, defend your center, the game goes on. The reason I want to suggest instead of bishop retreat to take is because you reduce the options. If you go bishop a4, there's just going to be so much to learn. Black could go b6, g6. Let's have a look at b6, the Owen's defense. Get the center, defend the center. Defend the center again with the queen. Knight f3, you're ready to castle and defend your center again. Black might go c5, you just go c3. If black strikes in the center, you don't need to take, you just go forward. Hit the knight. You have this gigantic pawn chain, knight moves and now castle. You might even flick in h4 later. Knight can come, bishop can come, white has a great position. If pawn to g6, get the center, knight out, 3 pawns in the center, which we saw before, the Austrian attack. a6, black might get space, you don't even need to worry about that. Just let black get space because you're getting your pieces out. Bishop here, bishop d3, castle, you're good. If black strikes with c5, you take it. And after take e5, block this bishop, and if something like this, bishop e4. 1, 2, 3. On the first move, black can get their knights out, get the center. Black strikes, you can take it or you can get more space, bishop f5. Planning this trap with knight b4, attack the pawn. c3, you actually stop the knight coming in, and like we've seen before, a gigantic pawn chain. This bishop is very strong, let's offer a trade. We can take, but then it just gets their knight in the game. So let's actually play knight e2. Maybe the knight can come to g3, put question to the bishop. Queen d7, we can castle as well. We can even go b4. We have this chain ready to get more space. Get a kingside attack going. Castle, knight g3, maybe put pressure. The game goes on. Even a move like f4 as well to get even more space. Knight f6, the Caro-Kann's defense. Hit the knight, defend your center. Hit the knight again, and now we can go f4 to get a really big center. That's a bit too aggressive for me. I think it's a really good choice. Another option is you take. Few ways for black to take back. Let's say take. Knight out. Bishop out, defend your center. Rook, c1, defend your center, and now b3. Notice in these kind of position, you've actually got all your queenside pieces out first. Black can strike in the center. You can defend, you can take. The queens might come off again, but so what? c5, get more space. The knight has to retreat there, but if you go here, that's a blunder. Rook d1 wins a piece. There's no good spot for the knight, or else you drop the rook. Attack this knight again with bishop c4. That knight is going to fall. Another option is, in this moment, we can take with this pawn. Knight out, bishop out. Just like we've seen many times before in previous lines, we're facing the king. Knight e2 this time. The two knights defend each other. The reason is, if you ever get faced with this move, you can play here, here, even to get the queen out of the way. Knight c6, castle. Even this is a cool move. You actually stop the bishop coming out. If you castle, knight b4, it looks like black is going to win the bishop, because if you move the bishop, it looks like you lose a pawn, right? Wrong. This is a famous opening trap. a3. White actually wants to create checkmate on h7, but you hit the knight, it drops back, and then queen d3, game over, double attack. You hit the knight, and then you also hit the pawn. And if the knight moves away, or you defend it, queen takes h7 is mate. In the bottom right, we have the worst chess openings, and how you can deal with them. Why are they so bad? Because there's just so much choice. If you don't like that video, you might prefer top left corner, YouTube's selection.